In the scorching Nigerian sun, 3 orphan mice siblings, Fluffernutter, Whiskerface, and Squeakyboots, huddled together in their hidden nest, deep within the city's bustling market. Their bright eyes shone with mischief as they hatched a plan to invade the house of a notorious Nigerian man, infamous for his cunning ways and ruthless methods of pest control. The 3 siblings had grown up on the streets, scavenging for food and avoiding danger at every turn. Despite their tough lives, they had formed an unbreakable bond, relying on each other for survival. Fluffernutter, the eldest, was a master strategist, always thinking several steps ahead. Whiskerface, the middle sibling, was a skilled thief, able to sniff out the most hidden treasures. Squeakyboots, the youngest, was a tiny ball of energy, always bouncing from one idea to the next. As they sat in their nest, Fluffernutter outlined the plan. "Alright, guys, here's the deal. We'll sneak into the man's house through the drainpipe, find the food storage, and feast like kings." Whiskerface's ears perked up at the mention of food, while Squeakyboots bounced up and down, squeaking excitedly. The 3 siblings set off on their mission, navigating through the crowded market, dodging vendors and pedestrians. They reached the man's house, a tall, imposing structure with walls that seemed to stretch up to the clouds. Fluffernutter led the way, scouting out the drainpipe and giving the signal for the others to follow. As they climbed up the pipe, Whiskerface's paws slipped, and she tumbled to the ground, landing with a soft thud. Squeakyboots rushed to her side, helping her up, while Fluffernutter peered down, worried. "Are you okay, Whiskers?" Whiskerface nodded, dusting herself off, and the trio continued their ascent. They reached the top of the pipe and squeezed through a narrow opening, finding themselves in a dimly lit attic. The air was thick with dust, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling like ghostly fingers. Fluffernutter led the way, navigating through the dark space, searching for a way into the main house. As they explored, they stumbled upon a trap, a sticky patch of glue designed to catch rodents. Squeakyboots, being the curious one, poked at it with a paw, getting stuck. Fluffernutter and Whiskerface rushed to her aid, carefully freeing her from the glue's grasp. "That was close," Whiskerface whispered, as they continued on. Their next obstacle was a trail of insecticide, laid out like a deadly snake across the floor. Fluffernutter sniffed it out, warning the others to stay back. They found a way around it, but not before Squeakyboots let out a tiny sneeze, alerting the man to their presence. The man, anticipating their next move, set up another trap, a spring-loaded snap trap that would crush any rodent that triggered it. Whiskerface, being the agile one, spotted it just in time, and the trio narrowly avoided becoming the trap's next victims. Undeterred, the siblings continued their mission, trying various entry points, but each time, the man seemed to be one step ahead. They encountered more traps, more poison, and more obstacles, but their bond and determination kept them going. Days turned into weeks, and the siblings grew hungrier, but their spirits remained high. Fluffernutter came up with a new plan, using an old ventilation shaft to gain entry into the house. This time, they made it into the food storage, and their eyes grew wide at the feast laid out before them. They ate their fill, storing away food for the days to come. As they explored the house, they discovered hidden treasures, like a stash of sweet, golden honey, and a bag of crunchy, flavorful nuts. The siblings laughed and played, enjoying their newfound paradise. But as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the house, the siblings settled down in their newfound nest, bellies full, and hearts content. They didn't notice the shadowy figure watching them from the doorway, a figure with piercing eyes and razor-sharp claws. As they drifted off to sleep, Fluffernutter's eyes flickered open, sensing something was off. She saw the figure, and her heart skipped a beat. "Whiskerface, Squeakyboots, wake up," she whispered urgently. But before she could finish, the figure took a step forward, its eyes fixed on the siblings. Fluffernutter's eyes locked onto the figure, and she let out a tiny squeak. The siblings froze, paralyzed with fear, as the figure revealed itself a sleek black cat, its eyes gleaming in the dark. The cat's tail twitched, and its ears perked up, as it crouched low to the ground, ready to pounce. The siblings held their breath, their hearts racing with anticipation. Would they be able to escape the cat's clutches, or would they become its next meal? As the cat took another step closer, Fluffernutter's mind racing with thoughts of escape, Whiskerface's eyes locked onto the cat's, a fierce determination burning within them. Squeakyboots, meanwhile, seemed frozen in place, her eyes wide with fear. The cat's eyes seemed to gleam with excitement, as it took another step closer, its paws silent on the floor. The siblings held their breath, waiting for the inevitable. But just as the cat was about to pounce, everything went black. But was it really black, or was it just the darkness of the room that enveloped them? Would the siblings escape the cat's clutches, or would they become its next meal? The fate of Fluffernutter, Whiskerface, and Squeakyboots hung in the balance, as the cat's eyes gleamed with anticipation.
As the cat pounced, its paws swooped down, ready to snatch the siblings. But just as all hope seemed lost, Squeakyboots let out a massive, echoey fart. The cat, caught off guard, recoiled in shock, covering its nose with a paw. The siblings took advantage of the distraction to make a run for it, scurrying out of the room as fast as their little legs could carry them. Fluffernutter, Whiskerface, and Squeakyboots didn't stop until they reached the safety of their hidden nest, where they collapsed in a fit of giggles. "Well, that was a close call," Fluffernutter chuckled, wiping tears from her eyes. Whiskerface shook her head, laughing. Only Squeakyboots could save the day with a toxic toot. Squeakyboots grinned mischievously, her paws wiggling with excitement. "Hey, it's a talent." From that day on, the siblings made sure to always have a stash of beans on hand, just in case they needed to make a quick escape. As they settled in for a well-deserved nap, Fluffernutter smiled at her siblings. "You know, I think it's time we started a new business, Mouse Security Services. We'll offer gas-based defense systems to all our fellow rodents." Whiskerface and Squeakyboots burst out laughing, and the three siblings spent the rest of the day brainstorming their new venture, complete with a logo featuring a cartoon mouse with a cloud of gas trailing behind it. And so, the legendary Mouse Security Services was born, with Squeakyboots farts as its most potent defense mechanism. Their first client was a nervous Nellie mouse named Mrs. Whiskers, who lived in a cozy little hole near the market. She had been plagued by a pesky raccoon that kept raiding her pantry. The siblings arrived at her hole, Squeakyboots proudly carrying a small backpack full of beans. "Don't worry, Mrs. Whiskers," Fluffernutter said with a grin. "We've got this covered." When the raccoon showed up, Squeakyboots unleashed a powerful blast of gas, sending the raccoon tumbling backward. Mrs. Whiskers was overjoyed, and the siblings received their first payment in the form of a year's supply of cheese. Word of Mouse Security Services spread quickly, and soon the siblings were in high demand. They protected mice, rats, and even the occasional lost kitten from predators, all with the power of Squeakyboots farts. Their business boomed, and they became legends in the rodent community. Years later, the siblings retired, their fortune made, and Squeakyboots' legendary farts were immortalized in a statue in the city square. The inscription read, "To Squeakyboots, the mouse who saved the day with a toot, and her trusty bean-filled backpack." And every time a rodent in the city was in trouble, they'd whisper, "Call Squeakyboots, she's got gas."